What if, for a fleeting moment, you stopped to listen to the silence between the world's noises? Not an empty silence, but one that whispers ancient secrets, laden with meanings that slip through the cracks of everyday understanding. What if I told you there's something vast, almost incomprehensible, pulsing behind everything you see, touch, and feel? Something so close you could almost grasp it, yet so subtle it rarely registers. This isn't about cheap conspiracies or fanciful tales to pass the time. We're talking about a force woven into the fabric of reality, shaping your existence in ways that defy common logic. Maybe you've caught a glimpse of it, a sudden shiver, a thought out of nowhere, a coincidence too perfect to explain. Welcome to the enigma we're about to unravel together today. Before we dive deeper, let me make one thing clear. This journey isn't for everyone. If you're someone who thrives on exploring the unknown, digging beyond the glossy surface of life, then you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel now, turn on notifications, and get ready. We're going to walk this uncharted path together, because what you're about to discover might transform your worldview forever. Let's start with a provocative question. What do you truly see when you look at the world around you? Pause for a moment and think. Are your eyes capturing the full essence of reality, or just carefully curated fragments? Science has already hinted that what we perceive is merely a shadow of what exists. Take quantum physics. It's shown us that tiny particles, the building blocks of the universe, change their behavior when observed. They can be waves or particles, depending on who's watching. Isn't that intriguing? It's as if these particles have some kind of awareness, reacting to our gaze. Now take it a step further. What if the same principle applied to your life? Could the simple act of paying attention be shaping what you experience in ways you don't even suspect? This idea isn't new. For centuries, various cultures have intuited something similar. In ancient Egypt, alchemists sought to turn lead into gold, but that was just a symbol of a higher mission. The real gold they chased was internal, the philosopher's stone, a state of enlightenment that transcended matter. They believed mastering the external world was merely the first step to mastering the inner one. Today, we might call it self-development or self-awareness, but the core remains. There's a transformative process linking the visible to the invisible. Have you ever felt this in your own life? Perhaps in a moment of crisis, when something shifted inside you, even if you couldn't name it. I've experienced this myself. There was a time when I started noticing curious patterns around me. Numbers repeating, like 11:11 on the clock, events that felt too aligned to be random, symbols popping up in unexpected places. At first, I thought it was my imagination playing tricks, but over time, it turned into an obsession. I dove into studies of symbolism, from the caduceus of ancient traditions to the all-seeing eye on dollar bills and pyramids. What I found stunned me. These symbols aren't mere decorations. They're keys, codes that span time, carrying messages that speak directly to our souls. They're like doorways to another layer of reality, waiting for someone to open them. Think about the double slit experiment, a classic in quantum physics. It proves that light can be both a particle and a wave, depending on how it's observed. The universe, in a way, seems to play with our expectations, responding to our focus. Now apply that to your everyday life. Could your thoughts, emotions, and intentions be shaping the events around you in some way? This possibility might sound absurd at first, but it echoes ancient traditions like the Kabbalah, which teaches that everything in the universe is interconnected, or the Hermetic texts, which state that, as above, so below. The key to unlocking it? It might be hidden within you. But why then does this knowledge feel so elusive? Why throughout history has it been guarded so fiercely by groups like the Templars or modern secret societies? Some believe it was to protect humanity from a power it wasn't ready to wield. Others argue it was a means of control, keeping the masses blind while a few pulled the strings of reality. What do you think? Could there be a deeper truth slipping through our grasp? I want you to pause for a moment and look at your own life. Have you ever felt something greater guiding you? A moment when everything lined up inexplicably? Or perhaps the opposite? A void that made you question everything? What if I told you the universe is constantly sending you signals? Like a cosmic radio tuned to a frequency you haven't yet learned to pick up. Those signals might be in the numbers you see, the people who cross your path, the dreams you have at night. The question is, are you willing to listen? Let's dive even deeper into this mystery. Imagine you're about to uncover a secret guarded for centuries, protected by brilliant minds and powerful figures. Were they trying to save us or control us? Maybe both. That ambiguity is the heart of esotericism. Knowledge is a double-edged sword, capable of freeing or enslaving, depending on who wields it. Take modern alchemy, for instance. We're not talking about forges and metals, but an inner transformation. It's the process of turning your doubts into clarity, your fears into boldness, your confusion into wisdom. Have you been through something like that? Maybe you're living it right now, without even realizing it. I remember when I started exploring these ideas more deeply. Once, during some research, I stumbled across stories of secret Cold War experiments. Hidden labs supposedly testing the mind's power over matter, and even the existence of other dimensions. It might sound like a movie script, but what if there's a grain of truth? Quantum physics has already shown that the observer affects the observed. So why not imagine that our consciousness could go further, shaping reality on scales we can't yet fathom? Perhaps those experiments were attempts to reclaim ancient wisdom lost in the texts of Hermes Trismegistus or the libraries of Alexandria. And here's another enigma. Why do so many symbols recur across such diverse cultures? The all-seeing eye, the coiled serpent, the confounding labyrinth. They span continents and eras, like echoes of a universal truth. That can't be a coincidence. These symbols strike something in our unconscious, as if they're maps to a memory we've carried since birth. Have you ever felt a shiver when you saw one of these signs? A connection you can't explain? What if these symbols weren't just images, but tools? The caduceus, for example, two serpents entwined around a staff, is more than a medical emblem. It symbolizes balance, the dance of opposites, the union of the physical and the spiritual. Once you start seeing these meanings, they show up everywhere, in corporate logos, monuments, works of art. It's as if someone scattered clues across the world, daring us to piece them together. Now let's bring this into the everyday. Imagine you're walking down the street and notice something odd, a number that keeps appearing, a sequence of events that feels too rehearsed. Do you ignore it or dig deeper? In my experience, these are invitations from the universe, little nudges to pay attention. They're like lanterns on a dark path, pointing to something bigger. So, what really defines your reality? Is it just the obvious stuff, your routine, your job, your circumstances? Or is there something subtler, an energy flowing between the gaps? In the Kabbalah, every letter, every sound, carries a vibration that influences creation. In Hermeticism, the world is a reflection of the mind. Everything around you, every object, every word, could be a conduit for that energy. Have you ever felt it, even for a second? Let's push further into this labyrinth. Think about time, not as a straight line, but as something malleable. Modern physics tells us time can bend, stretch. But what if it's also a trick of the mind? In moments of meditation or ecstasy, time vanishes, and you enter a state where everything is an eternal now. Mystics called this eternity. Have you ever experienced it? A moment when the clock stopped mattering? What if you could live in that flow all the time? How would that change your life? Inner alchemy teaches that true mastery isn't over the external world, but over how you perceive time and space within yourself. Have you ever had a sudden moment of clarity, when everything made sense? That's the gold the alchemists sought. Now, consider cosmic cycles. The Mayans, with their precise calendar, spoke of eras marking great shifts. Many tied 2012 to the end of the world. But what if it was the start of something new? A collective transformation, a leap in consciousness. Are we living it now, amid all the turbulence and progress of our time? Back to modern alchemy. Imagine a challenge in your life, a problem that feels insurmountable. What if, instead of fighting it, you saw it as an invitation to grow? That's transmutation, turning the lead of difficulty into the gold of wisdom. The phoenix myth, rising from its ashes, echoes this. Have you ever risen from your own ashes? We're nearing the end of this journey, but the mystery only deepens. The power of observation, as we've seen in quantum physics, changes everything. You're not just a bystander, you're a creator. The all-seeing eye, that enigmatic symbol, might be you. Your consciousness, shaping what you see. What if millions woke up to this? Could we be entering a new era? So, what do you do with all this? Ignore it or explore? The universe doesn't hand you ready answers. It hands you questions. And the biggest one is, what will you create with the power you already have? If you've made it this far, drop a "awaken" in the comments or share your experience with this mystery. Like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep this quest going together.